All right, welcome back to Mind and Magic, where we demystify the occult and talk about all things esoteric. Today we're going to talk about walking the narrow path, what it is, why we do it, and why so few are able to. So let's get into it.
Wow.
All right, so previously we had discussed the middle path and the teachings of Christ. The narrow path is essentially the middle path. And the reason so few people are able to walk it is because it requires being balanced. It's very easy to become unbalanced in today's world. That's the short of it. But the narrow path is much more than just a line on a tree of life chart. So we need to discuss what that path looks like, what it is you'll be doing, because you need to understand that the narrow path does not start out narrow. It starts out actually pretty wide. A lot of people want to do magic. They want to become a magician. They want to have skills and powers they didn't have before and communicate with the divine. But as time goes on and the path narrows, most of those people fall by the wayside. And this is precisely why it's called the narrow path. No matter what road or path you take, if so few people end up at the destination, then it would be considered a difficult or narrow path. So then why bother? Why even embark on the narrow path at all? Because it's the most rewarding. The most difficult path is the most rewarding. And according to some, may even yield the greatest reward of being removed from the cycle of incarnation, instead of having to reincarnate over and over again, learning the same lessons from scratch without any conscious memory of doing so. Winning the game, so to speak. Now, I can't attest to that because I have no conscious memory of past lives, which perfectly outlines the problem. Starting all over wouldn't be as bad if you retained your conscious memory. But when you have to start all over without knowing what had come before, it then becomes a lot more difficult to get back to where you were. Now, I'm always skeptical of those who say they know what happens after death, because I am very skeptical by nature. I consider magic to be a scientific endeavor. I don't really separate magic from science. So I'm skeptical because there are very few people with firsthand experience with death. Spirits tend to lie and not tell the truth. And when I ask the divine about it, I'm told not to worry about it, and am often scolded for inquiring on such matters. And what little I have gleaned from the divine, I have passed on to you, and there are videos on this channel about it. But there are many who claim that getting out of this cycle of incarnation is the ultimate prize. It is winning the game, so to speak. And the only way you're going to get there is by walking the narrow path. So let's take a look at what that's like. As stated before, the narrow path does not start narrow, it starts fairly wide. It begins with being interested in magic and willing to give it a shot. Many will dabble to see if it's true. And because they're dabbling and doing things incorrectly, it won't work and they will give up. The field will be quite narrowly reduced just on that alone. But for those who were more seriously interested, they'll pick up a book or two. They'll come across channels such as this and many others on YouTube, who will give them enough useful advice so that they actually get results from doing magic. Or they got no advice at all and they just had beginner's luck and happened to do everything correctly. But however you got the results, you still got them, and now you're hooked. Because you now realize that you can create that change that you want in your life. That you're not so powerless that you can't do anything about your current circumstances. And it's for this reason that I've always recommended that you go for something strange when you first start out with magic, which people keep asking about all the time, so I'm just going to put it up again here in this video. When you're first starting out, you should be going for the weird, bizarre, and unusual manifestations, so that you know without a shadow of a doubt that it was your magic that did it, and not just some random coincidence that you can brush off. And it can really be anything, but it needs to be common enough to not be outside the realm of possibility, but also unusual enough to get your attention so that you know that it wouldn't have randomly just popped up in your life otherwise. And you should have fun with it. It's the honeymoon phase. Get weird and wild with it. There's plenty of time for you to get serious down the road when you're first starting out. But for now, just have fun with some manifestations. This is the very beginning of the narrow path, and it's quite wide. There are a lot of people having success with magic and getting weird with it. It's to be expected, and I even encourage it, because only you can convince yourself that magic is real. I can't do that for you. No one else can. No one can do it for you. You have to be the one. And that's why I always say go for something weird or bizarre at the beginning. And now that you know that it's real, and now that you know that you can create this change, you now move to start making those changes in your life. And this is taking care of your base needs. Money, health, love, all the things that you need to get by here in the physical realm. Those who want to just take care of the spiritual at the expense of the physical are being irresponsible. You are here in the physical, and you need to take care of your physical needs first. Money. Everyone needs it. Those who say money isn't everything are the ones who don't have it. The ones who don't have money are the ones who tend to hate money and blame things on the rich. But the truth is, everyone needs it, so you're going to have to get some. And magic is a good way of acquiring it. Now, magic itself is expensive. There's a lot of things that you'll need to purchase for your magical practice along the way. And ceremonial high magic is incredibly expensive. And so early on, I made the resolution that magic needs to pay for itself. If my magic isn't yielding results to where it's difficult for me to afford doing it, then why bother with it? Why am I doing it at all? When the entire purpose is to improve ourselves and our circumstances. Well, fortunately, money magic is some of the easiest magic to do. And I've outlined everything that I've done personally in the Secrets of Wealth program. So that's step one. Health. You have to have your health. If you don't have your health, you don't have anything. And when you're sick, it's very difficult for you to do magic. So you need to take care of your health. You need to protect your health. Finding love and having a partner that's not going to freak out on your magical practice. I would consider that a base need. It's getting your house in order first. There's a lot of misconceptions about what magic can and should be used for. People are sometimes made to feel guilty that they manifested money or love into their life to fulfill their base needs and desires. But the truth is, you have to be able to help yourself before you can help others. You have to get a handle on the physical first. You cannot be struggling while you're going through initiation with all the stress and pressure of what that entails. But taking care of your base needs first, people usually don't have to be told twice about that, or at all. They tend to go for it anyway. But once that's handled and you've gotten all the craziness out of your system, then it's time to buckle down and start getting serious and start making changes to yourself. And this is where the path starts narrowing considerably, because changing oneself is hard. It's not an easy endeavor by any means. Magic can make it easier and even possible, when before it may not have been. But that doesn't mean it's going to be an easy time. We start working to rid ourselves of bad habits, adopting better ones, and start us on the transformation that is initiation, where the real work is. Initiation is not just being accepted into a group or something. It is a transformation process to where you will no longer recognize your former self when you started. And it's through this process of initiation that the road will become considerably narrow. It's not only not easy, it's quite time-consuming. You would be spending many, many years through this process. I could say a decade even easily. So it's a huge commitment to go through the process of initiation that one shouldn't take lightly. Many people don't make it through. It's the narrow path. But for those who do, your entire lives will have changed because you have changed entirely. Now, there are many self-initiation books and teachers out there. The one I went through personally is Magick, Kabbalah, and the Great Work of Self-Transformation by Liam Thomas Christopher. But I'm not opposed to any of the others. Franz Barden's and Chick Cicero's books are equally good. And I would recommend at least reading them all, even if you only ever pick one to go through. There's no greater pursuit of magic than to go through the initiation process and become a beacon for those who need it, drawing that light down from Kether down into Malkuth, the physical realm. But it begins with you walking the narrow path and transforming yourself. You have to fulfill your base needs and spiritual needs before you can fulfill the needs of others. When we talk about abundance, this is what we mean by our cup runneth over. You have filled your cup and now it runs over for others. And unfortunately, it's a rarity in today's world to do this. Everyone wants someone else to fill their cup instead of filling it themselves and then sharing it with others. And then they prevent all the cups from being filled. But if you're strong enough and you're brave enough and you're committed enough, you could be the one filling all of the cups and fulfilling the great work. I want to thank you for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like and share it if you did. Follow me on social media. Links will be on screen in a moment. And visit mindandmagic.com for magical programs and courses. I'm Frater Xavier, and I'll see you next time. Take care.